at KZLA.
I got a very special guest with us. He's a crime prevention and security expert, Louis Perry. How you doing, Louis? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you
We
very
appreciate
much
it.
for
Get right into
inviting
that
me.
mic. Now, I've seen you before.
For inviting me.
I didn't tell you. I recognize you before. You've been on TV a lot and stuff, right?
From time to time.
Oh, don't be so shy. Now, what makes you a security expert? You've worked for who?
I work for myself. I am an owner of Mainland Best Security based out of Los Angeles.
But you've worked for some of the biggest. You told us you can't mention their names on the air, but you told us who it is off the air.
Absolutely. I've worked for some of the biggest names in Hollywood and throughout the world, for that matter, when they come into the United States on details.
Big companies, office buildings, stuff like that?
A lot of
Banks.
the office buildings, lots of banks we do. We do a lot of properties all over Los Angeles. We provide security for them.
Your accent says you're not from here. Where are you from?
That's a security secret.
He started telling us off the air, because we just wanted a heads up. I know for me and all of us here, a lot of friends say to me, you see something suspicious. You don't know what's suspicious, what's not. You don't know if you're a jerk for reporting something and you're just tying up the police by calling them. What guidelines can we use just as a heads up?
Well, in today's situation with the war in Iraq and all the terrorist activities takes place throughout the world, you really need to be alert. No call is a bad call. Like, no question is a bad question. If you see something that looks unusual, you should report it.
Now, you told us off the air. You started telling stuff like if somebody's you're living in an apartment building, and somebody's taking photos of the building, that's a no-no.
Well, it is a no-no. You would want to ask, why are they taking the pictures? You'd want to first, what I would do is I would call the management office of the building and say, are you aware that someone is taking photos of the property? That's the first step. If they say no, then I would call 911, because that's a legitimate call. Call 911, have them investigate it. There's a person taking pictures of the property. He has not been authorized by the management of the property. And that's what I would do.
All right, what else? Give us another rundown of easy stuff that sticks out.
Easy stuff that sticks out. Okay, excuse me. Let's say you're walking in front of your building, and all of a sudden you notice a briefcase there. Now, some people would say, well, it's probably somebody's briefcase. They're going to come and walk. No, bad answer. What you want to do is you want to call the police and tell them there's a briefcase and there's no one around the briefcase, and I would instantly alert the security of the property of the matter.
So that game over as far as that stuff's concerned. Don't make assumptions that it's safe.
Never make assumptions. Never make assumptions, and never put yourself at risk.
Well, my big thing, as you're telling me, is not to worry about embarrassment. Because I get to that point where I might see something and I go, I don't know. I mean, you can't be afraid, right? You got to make the call.
Let me just tell you that every situation that you see should be taken seriously. You got to make the call. The police, I could tell you a story if you want me to tell you a quick story about things that I have done that people will say, this guy's overboard. But me, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And if you want to hear it, I'll lay it on you. During the time when there was a lot of home invasions, you always heard people coming in doing home invasions. One day during the Christmas holiday, my wife said basically that she was going to be at home. We were going to cancel going to see the light show at Griffith Park. All of a sudden, I'm on my way home, and I'm calling, no answer. I'm calling, no answer. I call 5 times, no answer. Me being in the line of work that I am in, I basically called the sheriff's department who handles my area. They met me. They came with me to my residence. They're walking up the stairs with me with their guns drawn, and here comes my son at the stairs and looks at these cops with the guns drawn at him and says, Dad, what's going on? And I say to my son, why didn't you call me and tell me you decided to go to the light show? Now, that may seem to some people as being overboard, but my wife normally tells me every place she's going to go. She didn't tell me on this time, and I had to do the right thing.
May I now just say, and this is expert Louis Perry,
Yes.
2 things. A, you got to loosen up a little bit, and B, you need better communication with your wife. You need counseling. She needs to be able, Louis, and I'm saying this from your wife, from a good place, because she probably can't tell you this.
Go ahead.
She needs some freedom. She needs not to tell you every place she's going. And by the way, my wife never answers the phone. Every time I come home, it would be with guns drawn. What's the joke, Jeff? Producer Jeff, everybody, get on the phone here. When I call my house. And I ask. Here's my typical call home. Go ahead, producer Jeff.
What you call?
Yeah, Tom.
Oh, the message comes on, and then you get to leave the message, and you go, "Hello, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up,
Somebody
pick it up. Tommy, Robert,
Tommy, pick up. Tommy, pick up.
Nobody
Tommy,
ever.
Tommy.
It would always be with the sheriff. Should I just come home with the sheriff's department?
But this is the difference. This is the difference. That is your program. Now, let me tell you this. I'm going to throw you the loop on you now, okay? Here we go. You guys ready for
No,
this?
you know what?
Okay,
The
yes.
loop, we're going to come back, and he's going to throw the loop to me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're going to get your wife on the phone and tell her to tell you face to face, I need Lewis. It's going to be hard for her to say. She's going to say, Lewis, I need some space.
I hope she picks up when we call her.
I love Lewis.
She's there, too. She's there.
If not, if you don't pick up, we're coming home with the sheriff's department and Lewis. All right, coming up, we got some more serious tips. We're trying to keep this light, but you know what? It is a serious time. We can all help and chip in and be aware. We'll tell you some more tips, and he's going to throw me a ringer next. And, honey, if you're home, pick up. This is L.A. and Orange County's Country 93.9 KZLA.
Peter.
Mark Wills, 19-something on L.A. and Orange County's Country 93.9 KZLA. The Peter Tilden Show with Buzz on America's most listened-to country station. It's 8:35. We're going to continue with security expert Louis Perry, who's angry with me for telling him that his wife should open up more to him, and is going to give it as good as he got. Right? Is that what's coming up?
Well, I'm gonna just see how security aware you are.
We're going to do that, and we can all do that along with me at home next. But right now, we have an Operation Iraqi Freedom update with our own Kevin Cole, and here he is.
The United
Shoes for that young man whose mother refused to buy him shoes. It's going to be very, very sweet and poignant. Louis Perry is with us. He's a security and crime prevention expert who told us, if you missed the last segment, a briefcase outside your door, it's a whole different game. Call the police. Don't be embarrassed. Somebody taking photos of your building, if you live in an apartment building, ask the apartment manager, report it. The days of, it's probably nothing are over. We got to be more intrusive, more participatory in our own future and our own security. Now, you said you went home because your wife hadn't answered the phone, and you called her several times, and you usually know every place she is, every minute of her life throughout the day. So you went home with guns ablaze from the sheriff's department, and they had just gone to Griffith Park for the light show. And I said to you, you need to communicate with your wife, and you need couples counseling. She needs her space, Louis, and she just can't tell you that. So you said, and now you're going to hit me with some security questions of my own, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Question number one.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Louis has that look on his face.
Yeah.
This is it. If you came home tonight and you found your door open, would your door normally be open?
No.
Would you go into your? What would be the steps that you? Would you call in?
I would
and see?
assume that my father-in-law was staying with us because he has left the water running and the garage door open for an entire day.
Okay, I'm not going to let you off the hook. On
Go
this
ahead.
one.
No, what would I do?
So what would you do?
I would enter the house but honestly, what I'd do, the real honest answer, is I'd probably walk and go, hello, who's here? Is anybody, you know what I mean? Somebody left the door open.
You hear nothing at this point, and now you put your head in, and you notice that, and I want everybody to visualize this.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that things are thrown all over, there's glass broken on the
I'd be
floor.
freaked. At that point?
What would you do?
I'm trying to give you the honest answer.
Okay.
Because I'm processing. What my head is saying is I should go outside, call on the cell phone, call for the police right away. But I'd be too freaked. I'd run through the house checking to see if my family was okay would be my first reaction.
That's the normal first reaction a person would take, but the best thing to do would be call out, see if anybody was there. If nobody answers you back, walk out, call 911, move away from the house, observe, and report is the number one thing.
That's killing me, though. But it's hard. Boy, that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but you could also not do that and become a victim. So did I get him, guys?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah,
Okay,
You got
yeah.
me. You know something back, though? You still need to go to couples therapy. You need to let her off the hook. You don't need to know. And listening at home, Mrs. Perry, take some time and create your wants and needs. Tell them what you really need. Don't be afraid. If you have some security concerns or you got some questions, this guy's one of the best guys in the country. He gave us a list of celebrities he's done. We can't say it on the air. They're huge. Huge wusses. That use him. I mean, action heroes, that kind of guy. You wouldn't even suspect that they're that much of wussy men. But they use him in a lot of buildings and a lot of the big banks in L.A. and around the country. Call us 1-800-977-1939 if you have a question. Do you have any questions about security, Buzz? Or you just...
Well, I would have done the same thing you did. I'm not the fall back and observe kind of guy. And I'm worried about my family's safety, so I'm going to be proactive. But now, listening to you, I think I'm going to...
All right, coming up, we'll take your calls and some more tips on this. And from now on, I'm not even going into my... You got me so scared. 1-800-977-1939. away from home, that'd be great. So thank you very much. We heard you. We want to do this, so make sure you're down there with us the 28th. We have a security expert, Lewis Perry, with us, who's been great and very playful and very informative as far as some of the stuff we should do. We have a call for you. Can we take that, Lewis?
Sure.
All right. KZLA, good morning. You have a question for Lewis?
Good morning, yes.
Go ahead.
I live in downtown Fullerton, right across from a major high school, major college, and I have, like, rest homes and churches around me. And I just wondered if calling 911 was the best thing, or finding out the number, say, for the campus security and calling them if I see something unusual. Because the big parking structure for the college is right across the street from my house.
That's a great idea, and more people need to think about things like that. I would make contact with the campus police, and I would also get involved with the community and have a networking system so that basically if you see something out of the ordinary, you could call the campus police because they'll probably respond quickly, and the police department would respond quickly. Now, an example of that would be if you looked out your window and you saw a man parked in front of the schoolyard peering in at the kids and doing this consistently, that would be something you'd probably call on. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. I mean, we have major parking problems in our area anyway, but I was thinking more along the lines of a van parked in, by the rest home, or a van parked in front of the houses.
Find out now. What you're saying is be prepared. Find out now. Don't wait for that. Make the contacts now. Find out what your network is. Also, neighborhood watches are great. Organizing neighborhood watches, at least having phone numbers, names, and numbers. We have neighbors you don't even know. You want to call them on the phone and say, there's somebody in front of your house. Do you know that person?
Yeah.
There's also another thing you could do. Excuse me, I'm sorry. There's another thing you could do is there's a lot of crime prevention seminars that the police department puts together. All you'd have to do is call the community relations section of the police department of your local area, and there's constantly crime prevention seminars. Those are excellent for people to get go to and get tremendously good information.
Thanks for being with us. Thanks for the question. Before we let you go, and we appreciate you coming in, Lewis Perry, security expert. I'm just curious, in your house, Lewis, because you're a little over the top. Now, before you go to bed, what do you do? Can you give us all a tip of, like, what do you do before you go to bed? I don't mean hygiene. I mean, house stuff.
It's funny because we have a routine in my house. My house is sort of like a training academy, okay?
You know what? I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
My kids, we'll walk, and what we'll do is, if let's say at 2 o'clock in the morning, I decide to go down and get a drink of water. When I go down, I do an interior perimeter patrol at the bottom floor. I check the patio door. I check the front door. I make sure the windows are closed. I make sure the garage door leading into the house is closed. I make sure everything's secured. If I have to go down there for any reason, that's what I do.
How long does it take you to do a perimeter check?
I have a small place. It takes me about 2 minutes. That's why I do it.
All right, perimeter check. Now, if you have to get up later, like 10 minutes later and winkle, is it also a perimeter check?
If
or is
I
it
have
just a winkle?
What I do is, let me tell you, every time I have to winkle, we'll call it, I go and I check to make sure my 2 sons are in their bed sleeping comfortably. Every single time.
Don't yell at me. Don't point that finger at me. Don't make me less of a father because I just winkle and go to bed without any thought to my family.
You got to check. You got to check. You got to check.
Perimeter check. That makes sense. That does make sense, especially
Very important.
now.
Very important.
Do you know what your wife's doing right now, since you know every minute of the day what she's doing?
Right now, my wife is probably sitting there listening to the radio saying, I can't believe this. And if you call her right now, I bet you that's what
if she doesn't answer the phone, I can't call her right now.
No,
if she doesn't answer the phone, I'll have to leave early and do a guns-drawn entrance into your home.
No.
Lewis is a great guy. We've played with him, but we learned a lot of good stuff. It's from Mainland Best Security. Lewis Perry, the partner and vice president of marketing. And thank you very much for coming in, making us a little bit safer and loosen up.
I'll try. But can I say something? You guys do an excellent job. I enjoy your station, and you do a very, very good job in helping and working with the community. So let me give you a hand to you guys.
Well, thank you, Lewis. We make the listeners are the best, and they're the ones who really do all of the work. So thank you very much. We'll be back with 5 things you need to know, including a Middle East update, and we're going to have Dr. Heather Krell with us, a clinical professor in psychiatric and behavioral science, to just answer some of your questions about your kids and what they should know and be exposed to and what they shouldn't. This is L.A. and Orange County's Country 93.9 KZLA.
The Peter Tilden Show.